Hello, and welcome back to the Universe Podcast. I'm your host, Teagan Elliott, and I did not post last week, and I'm so sorry, you guys. A lot was going on. Believe me when I say I had every intent to post last week. But that being said, I did have a big assessment because it's assessment season, it's exam season. Everyone's got so much going on right now. That's why, hence this video, or this episode rather, I have no video, is what I meant to say. So I do apologize. But today I was just going to talk to y'all a little bit about my assessments, how things are going in my day-to-day life, because I actually have hella tea for you guys. Stay tuned. Life has not been kind to me the past week and a half, now it's been like 2 weeks ish. But yeah, life's been crazy, throw me lots of curveballs, and I think isn't it like Mercury's in retrograde or something like that, or was retrograde? Here's the thing is, I don't believe in astrology is my personal take. However, I do like to read about it and I think it's fun. So if I can attribute something wrong in my life, it was because astrology happened, then I can be like, oh my gosh, wow, that's crazy. Let's start with last week. I had a big assessment for studio production. So basically, I made my own show. It's called Spill the Tea. So I had a cute little video that I had made in advance, and I had made my graphics and everything. And making a studio show, there's a lot that goes into it. You have your script, which isn't like a regular film script. It's a studio script. So if anyone wants to look it up, feel free. But basically for a studio show such as Good Morning America or on the Graham Norton show, on the right half of the page, you'll have the words for the host to say. So you'll have their dialogue that you want them to say. And you'll also put what's going to be happening in the episode, whether it's a video that's going to be playing or, so you'll put if a video's playing or if there's an interview happening, and you basically, the right side has what's happening. The left side is what you're supposed to be seeing on screen, and you'll say which camera's doing what. So if you have 4 cameras, you'll have camera 4 in position A, so you'll say 4A, and then you'll put, if it's a 2 shot or a medium shot, and then you put you'll underline it, and then you do some underscores, and so then it goes across the page to the other side, and then you'll put a slash as to where you want that cut to happen. So you'll say you want to cut to camera 4 when the host says the word, and then he cut to camera 4. If that makes sense, I think you have to look at a picture of it. It's nothing like a film script. Really, really interesting. I think about how much I've learned in studio and how I've just really, really come a long way. And it's really just interesting for me to look back and think to me a year ago and how I could not have pulled off what I just pulled off. So I think it's just definitely a reminder for me to know, I am at uni and I have learned things. And as dramatic as life has been lately, I am really proud of myself for the work I've put in this year and how much is going on. And apparently this is a thing. Someone was telling me that apparently year 2 is the shit year. Don't know how accurate the statement is. But for me, I've had some unfortunate things happen this year for myself. But on the whole, I'm still just I'm still so appreciative of the fact that I am here. You just have to focus on you at the end of the day. And I feel like that's something I have grown a lot with this year as well. I feel like this is now becoming an end of year episode. It's not really the end of the year, but I still have a month left. But no, this really has been a year where I have grown a lot. And I think something that I have struggled with in the past, if we're getting personal here, is that I tend to be a people pleaser, and it really frustrates me when people don't like me, especially if I haven't done anything, at least that I'm aware of, or something that to me is a big enough deal for someone to really dislike me. And so I think that's something I've definitely worked on this year, is trying to care less what people think of me. And just being American in a foreign country, you're going to run into that. And it is unfortunate, and that's the world we live in, but c'est la vie. So yeah, other than that, I've been just, a lot of work. So when I tell you, I had to write that script for studio, and then you also have to think about the camera card. So every camera that's working, there are 4 cameras, and I also use the overhead camera for my show. It needs the list of all the shots that you want them to get. And then so I timed it. I had about 5 minutes of setup, 5 minutes of safety briefing, and then I had 20 minutes to rehearse my show, and then we had to go. And think about that, 20 minutes flies by for every shot you want to practice, every transition, but for the cameras to reposition themselves, playing the videos. You can't play your whole show out multiple times. Like, you won't have time for that. Especially if there's something going wrong, you have to repeat. Like, it's very time consuming. The studio is yours. You're directing, you're producing for the 45 minutes in your time slot. And yeah, it was really stressful, but at the same time, I think the most stress that went into it was the work you do, the prep that goes into it. And then once you have that studio show set up, it's so fun. And just directing and knowing exactly what you want, I think, is the key for the assessment. And I'm sure as a director general, you need to know what you want. You need to do the prep and do the work in advance. So that was just a little bit about my studio assessment. All went well. And my little, lesson on life there that I've learned this year is try not to care as much. But I will talk a little bit about some of the emotional and personal drama and stuff that went into why I didn't have an episode last week. So basically last week, or rather on, let's see, the early morning hours. For me, it was a Friday night, but yes, it was then 3 in the morning of a Saturday. I had a night out with the house from last year that I lived with, which was really fun. It was a good reunion. It was really, really good to see everyone. And we had a great night up until, I'm not going to name names or anything. And I'm not going to give tons of details to the situation, as I don't know how much I am allowed to say. But basically, on my walk home with one of my housemates from last year, they were just walking me home, and we got we this group of about, I'd say, 8 16-year-olds on their bicycles shouted something at us, and my friend shouted something back. Which, yes, we'd been drinking. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have said anything. So that didn't justify what happened next. Is then they turned around, came over to us as we tried to defuse the situation. They told me to go back to where I came from once they heard my American accent. And then after that, one of them started getting kind of physical with me. There was some shoving. And then suddenly my friend was on the ground. They were beating this person up pretty heftily, and I was being held back. It got pretty intense. At some point, I was able to grab my friend and took them home and tried to clean up some of the blood and things like that and bandages. And then they, at that point, lived pretty far from my house. So then one of their friends came and picked them up. And at this point, this was about 5 in the morning. It was pretty late. We watched the sunrise. And so I did file a police report, and I know that the police are looking into the case. Don't know how long it'll take. I don't even know if anything's going to come of it. But point is, no verbal provocation at the end of the day justifies violence. Anyone should be able to come up to you and say whatever they want. And as much as you might want to hit them, you cannot. It is not right. So that was a big emotional thing I had that night. Then I had to prep for my studio show. I was full work mode, trying not to think about it. I suffered my first panic attack, which I didn't really know how to handle. So I called a friend at the time and asked, how long am I supposed to breathe in, breathe out? So for anyone that ever has a panic attack, if you try to remember 5 and 5, breathe in for 5 seconds, hold your breath for 5 seconds, and then breathe out. I, at this point, sat down on a bus stop bench, and it lasted about 10 minutes, I'd say. Just kind of feeling like you're going to cry, it's hard to breathe. My head was, racing and spinning, and, my heart was pounding really fast. So, rough. I think I'm definitely through, parts of the thick of it, but yeah, just trying to be, I guess, a little more things that have changed in my life, that I've changed some habits, is I think I now most of the time just do one AirPod in, one out, so I can hear more stuff going on around me. Otherwise, I get kind of jumpy if people pass me on the street and I didn't hear them coming. Looking over my shoulder more, things like that. And New York is also a very safe town, which is why this was really shocking and surprising to me. It was horrible. And I know that a lot of people talk about England and how this is a common thing. but it shouldn't be. But you could also argue that school shootings in America shouldn't be a thing. But here we are. America has its issues, and England has its issues as well. But yeah, so then the following week, different friend I was out with, we were at a club, and someone we had never spoken to, never interacted with, never looked at anything, just came up to my friend and just punched them in the face. And on their way to punch them, it hit my arm, slightly bruised. It hurt. And this was also 10 minutes before the club we were in was closing as well. So the whole thing was a very, like, there were all these fights breaking out, and we had tried to move across the dance floor to avoid what was happening. And then that's when, yeah, this random person came and punched my friend in the face. And then we went outside and they decided to press charges. So the bouncers had me run out and point this person out. And I knew exactly what they looked like. I really hadn't had that much to drink. They were very recognizable. There was no one wearing anything like what they were wearing. Like, it was obviously this person. Pointed them out. I think they were detained or arrested. I'm not sure. But then, yeah, then we filed, the police came to my house the next morning. I was exhausted again, didn't get to bed till like 5:30, and spoke to the police, told them what had happened, and then they had said that because I also technically had been physically assaulted, I was a victim, not just a witness, because initially it was going to be a witness report, but ended up filing a victim's report and a victim statement. So I think this person is now being charged on 2 accounts, but due to some reasons, I'm not sure if I can explain just because the case is ongoing. So I won't be mentioning what exactly happened, but this person got let out for some reasons. The point is, we might now have to go to court to fight it, and I don't know how long it's going to take. Someone was telling me it might even be like in September when this finally gets to court. So we might see me in court. Maybe I'll just like Elle Woods and go in and, slay. But overall, life has been wild, and exams right now, like, I think that's just the timing of everything is so unfortunate. Like, if this had happened to me last term, obviously any time it would happen would suck. But if it had happened last term, that would have been a little better for my scheduling issues. Or even after exams, because then, like, I'm about to go home anyway. But I'm super busy. I have a lot going on, a lot of paperwork. I just turned in my short film. Don't know if you guys remember me when I think I had Francesca on the episode when we were talking about wanting actors and our filming and all that. And that was ages ago. That was Tense on Fire, featuring Cheska. And that was a while ago, and I finally turned in my film. I'm happy with it. I have to give a presentation as well next week, and then I've got 3 more assessments after that, and then I will be done. But those are big projects. I will say my degree is very project-based, so just a lot of like prep and love that goes into these assignments. You can't really do it last minute. It's not like an essay where I can crank something out the night before if need be. Although there are a couple essay components to the projects as well, so my work's really cut out for me, hence no video this week. As I've already said, I'm really sorry about that. It's definitely going to be a shorter episode, because now, having a podcast, and I think this episode, I'm also very tired. Last night I was also up very late, but this time it was for like good reasons. I was having like a fun reason to be up late. So don't think that it was bad. I actually went to the Post Malone concert. I had to get, after all this, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to Manchester by myself for the first time to go see Post Malone. And that was such a good time. Post Malone, I looked at the set list ahead of time. I know that, like, true concert goers don't really look because you want to be surprised, but I looked, and he was going to play Lemon Tree, which I love Lemon Tree. And then he ended up playing, someone in the audience had a sign saying, "Can you play Feeling Whitney?" And he does not play this one often because it's got some really high vocals. But he played Feeling Whitney. It was epic. I think Post Malone, as a performer, he's able to really make you feel like you're at a smaller venue. It feels a lot more intimate than it is. And I think that, like, good artists can pull that off. I mean, the man, like, he was having a couple beers, smoking a couple cigs. Like, it felt like you were watching someone in, like, your local bar doing a performance. But it was still, like, epic. I mean, you had cool lights, and it was songs everyone knew, and you're all singing along, and the atmosphere was great. On my right, I think they were about 50 or 60, this older couple next to me. They were from Manchester. Shout out to them if they're listening. And they were really friendly. I do not remember their names. Talked to them for a bit. But then on my left, I had these girls not really passing the vibe check. They were taking selfies the whole time. They didn't really know the words to most of the songs. So I was like, you're definitely here for the Instagram post. Like, you're not here for the music. And that pissed me off because I was like, I I would be annoyed if there were people that had tickets that I could have had in better seats, which probably were the case because I didn't get really great seats or anything. I could have had a better seat with maybe someone that didn't know all the music, but that's just life at concerts. There's always going to be people that are gonna be there for the social media, unfortunately. But it was, yeah, just a great time. I tried not to think too hard about it. I was just dancing and singing along, had a great time, and then getting the train. So it was at the AO Arena in Manchester, and it was super easy getting back on the train. So I got the train into Manchester, Victoria, got sushi at this place called Unagi, which I got this spicy salmon roll. It was amazing because sushi in York is just hard to come by. And then after I got my sushi, walked to the concert. I had a great time. I got merch. I got this white t-shirt. 40 pounds though. That was not cute. But yeah, I have my merch, and then I watched the concert, buzzing time, and then it was super easy to get out. Basically, at my exit point, I was in section 205, which was right by these doors that lead you out to, they tell you go left to the parking lot and go right to the train. And when they say right to the train, it's connected to the train station. You never step outside. You just walk down these stairs and boom, you're in the station. I was like, that was so incredibly easy. So I just waited around for about a half hour for my train, and then it was pretty long. It was about a 2-hour ride. I was like, oh. And then I got home and reminisced about my great night. But now, I've just got a lot of work to do. So I think that I definitely, because I turned in my film yesterday knowing that I would have the Post Malone concert and I'd be really busy. So that was definitely like my little celebration for doing that. And then I'll probably do a little viewing party for my film. So that's like my little life update. Definitely life's been crazy. I hope y'all are doing well. And I will definitely try and get a better episode for y'all next week. I think I have a guest scheduled to come do something this weekend. So hopefully the content will be a little more exciting, less of just me rambling. And stay tuned. Should be good. Hopefully exams won't knock me off my feet. But I've been trying to eat healthy. I've been trying to drink my water, have my vitamins, because I don't want to get ill during this time. It would be so unfortunate, like really, really bad timing to get sick right now. So knock on wood. Just so y'all know, I'm currently knocking on my head because I can't tell if the desk wood is fake or not. And so I've been told you're supposed to knock on your head if you can't tell if the wood's fake or real. So knock on wood. Knock on your head. So thank you guys so much for listening. You can find this anywhere podcasts can be found, that being Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, all the places. And you can also find us on YouTube. Like I've said 2 other times, no video this week, but it'll still be on YouTube, just in the audio file format if y'all want to take a listen. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next Thursday. Okay, bye.